Shea 45, we are back. I got Justin Hunt sitting in here with me. We just fucking tackled that goddamn, I forgot the guy's name.
Bobby Valentino.
Johnny Bravo?
Johnny Bravo.
Fucking Bobby Valentino. All right, let's move forward. Andre 3000 is...
I'm sorry,
oh, yeah, you good. He's what, head of marketing or some shit for one of my favorite brands of tennis shoes right now.
He's the new creative director for Tretorn.
I fucking love Tretorn. That's what I started wearing after K-Swiss, with your 20,000 whack-ass followers never fucking hit me back. So I was like, fuck you, K-Swiss. I'm on the Tretorn, and I love those fucking shoes, bro.
Well, they have the 50th anniversary celebration of their most iconic shoe. It's called the Nightlight. Is that what you rock?
That's what I wear. I wear the Nightlights, bro. Those are my gent. They're so comfy, bro. And it's like old school preppy boy shit. Like that was some real fucking white people shit from back in the day, dog. Like that was like country club style shit. Which I don't know. I never been to one, but that's what I imagine. You know what I mean? Like it was like tennis shoes from the '60s.
Well, they're allowing 3 Stacks to redesign the Nightlights, which is kind of wild. That's like bringing in another designer and saying, hey, I want to redo the shell toes.
Is he gonna? How's he gonna? What do you mean redesign them? Like put different colors on the bitches or some shit?
I don't think the redesigns are actually out yet, and so I don't have an answer as to what they're going to look like. But they're allowing him to customize and play with their signature shoe.
I bet you it'll be the same cut, and then he can just freak the colors and shit. Look, man, they're like I said, man. I love them bitches. I got 3 pair. I just got a bunch on ice. I just circled. If anybody from Tretorn's listening, just send me some shoes. I love those fucking shoes. I love those goddamn shoes. Yeah, so Andre 3000. And that makes me feel even cooler now that Andre 3000, one of my favorite MCs, is rocking with them guys. So what's his deal?
So he did an interview with Complex around his new role as creative director for Tretorn, talked about a number of different things, and of course, the topic of whether or not Andre 3000 will put out any more music or if we'll see another Outkast project on the way, that inevitably came up. Here's what Andre 3000 said about it. I kind of like not being a part of rap right now. Now that I've done it, as I get older, I start to see myself move back from it. The hustle, the bustle of putting an album together, the pressure of being in the studio, trying to come up with something. Now it's more like a hobby for me. So I don't think about it in that way. Even with Outkast, if we never do another album, I'm totally fine with that. When I was 25, I said I don't want to be a 30-year-old rapper. I'm 42 now, and I feel more and more that way. Do I really want to be 50 years old up there doing that? Rapping is like being a boxer. No matter how great you are or were at a certain time, the older you get, the slower you get. I don't care who you are.
Damn.
This is the oldest thing I've ever heard Andre 3000 ever say.
That's what happens, man, bro. Like, you got to understand, like, our 40 is like being 70, man. Like, we just our 40's old as hell, bro.
You talk about Royce da 5'9" all the time, Jude. You keep talking about layers and how great it is.
I love his mixtapes and everything. Yeah, I love Royce.
His Tabernacle, you bring up Tabernacle.
Yep.
Is he getting worse that he's getting older? Is he like an old boxer, Jude?
No, he's getting better. Royce is actually getting better. I think he's achieved emotional depth.
He's made emotional depth.
Like before he was a spitter. Now he's a bit more. He's a bit emotionally more open. But look, man,
like take an artist like Eminem. He's more emotionally open, more technically talented as he gets older.
I don't think it's a rule for everybody, but I totally understand where Andre 3000 is coming from.
Well, he says no matter who you are, you get slower. This feels like an alibi to me.
I don't think that. Look, man, I don't think. For the most part, like I think most artists. I think we can agree if we really look at it. There's going to be some exceptions, but if you look at most artists peak their first, their first 4 or 5 things, and then after that, it's not as good. in the classic people, you got people that are the exception to that rule. Like the Beatles, their later shit was fucking better than their early shit. Fleetwood Mac, the same deal. Once Lindsey Buckingham and them came on, like that's when they got all their hits.
Outkast is an example. Their later stuff is
me?
better than their early stuff.
You are out of your fucking mind.
Stankonia is better than anything at the beginning of their catalog.
Stankonia is the beginning of the downfall to me. That is, to me, my own personal opinion. I like their first 3 albums the best, far and away. AT-Aliens, Aquemini, and Southern Playalistic are my 3 favorites. Stankonia is cool, but to me, that's when they start waning.
You know what those 3 albums lack compared to their final 2 albums, Jude?
Tell me.
Emotional depth.
You are out your fucking mind, dude.
One of them was called Love Below. The whole album was about nothing but the whole challenges of what it means to be in different types of situations where your emotions are out of control. Emotional depth, Jude.
I don't think Spotty dope, but let's just come on, man. He's talking about like picking up his girl and trying to be a man and like saying goodbye to the clubs. Like I don't think Outkast ever really lacked emotional depth, but like they were Outkast. No one ever accused Outkast of being shallow. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And maybe perhaps they maybe perhaps they grew down the road, but like as they got older. But man, those first 3 albums were, to me, those first 3 albums are just flawless. I love those. I love those first 3 albums. So that's where you and I are gonna disagree on this one. Like. You put the Love Below better than AT-Aliens?
Yeah. And
Wow.
Stankonia, especially from an MCing standpoint, the type of stuff they're doing. A song like I'm Sorry, Miss Jackson, you know what I mean? Like So Fresh, So Clean. And these are also 2 of their most accoladed albums ever.
That's because that's because white people figured out about them by then. They didn't know shit about them on their first 3 albums. That's when they started having crossover hits. But their pre-crossover shit was fucking phenomenal, dude. Two Dope Boys in the Cadillac, Millennium, like man. Yo, dude, I really. So, what do you think?
He did that beat with his mouth too, man. That's one of the best beats like ever. I love that.
Man, like. Look, so what do you? I get it, man. Like I understand where he's coming from. Like some people do get better. Some people have that fire. Some people keep fighting and getting better, and they might have a chip on their shoulder, and it drives them. I don't really know if Andre 3000 had that chip on his shoulder, or if he did, is it still there? Is he still hungry the way he used to be?
I definitely don't think he's hungry at all. The way he used to be. Yes, the chip was definitely there. I mean, the dude went up at the Source Awards and said the South got something to say. That's all I got to say. And then went on one of the greatest lyrical stretches of the next 4 albums I think we've ever seen in rap, in my opinion. I put him up there next to almost nobody. Like Andre 3000
look, man,
is like incredible.
Andre and Big Boy are like phenomenal, dude. I think if people don't list Outkast as some of their favorite people, I really question their fucking taste in rap. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I look at these statements right here, and there's other things in here. He's talking about how obviously he's creative director of Tree Torn. There's other things he wants to do. He's more interested in fashion and whatever. All that's fine, and I think that makes more sense to me. I understand if you just get tired of doing something, and maybe you just I don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore. I'm just tired of it. I've smoked so many cigarettes. No matter how much fun it is smoking cigarettes, I'm tired of smoking cigarettes because it never ends well for anybody who smokes cigarettes. I'm just going to go smoke cigars now, or whatever it is, or I'm going to do something different. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but I understand people who just want to move on and do different stuff, and that's fine. But this idea that like you're become weaker at making art when you get older is the oldest thing I've ever heard Andre 3000 say. I get it. The guy used to say stuff like, spaceships don't come with rear view mirrors, they dip. And I guess that's where he's at still mentally. But this is almost like, this is like saying.
I feel like you're taking this personally.
Well, I do. I just don't think this is on the zeitgeist with anything that I've seen in rap recently. I've seen most of these cats that are out right now. I think are getting better with age. I think rap is skewing older. I think we've seen more 444s. I think Tech Nine is at the top of his game right now, lyrically.
Yeah, but and I'm not gonna call out any rappers, but you also see like a bunch of fucking. You see a lot of rappers that were the shit back in the day, doing fucking songs with assholes and dipshits and fucking and trying to fit in to just to sell a fucking album and stay relevant. And like he's just not doing that. And I commend him.
I think
like,
that's.
He's not jumping on some fucking trend just to be able to fucking stay relevant. I think that's cool.
I don't think you see that trend with the elite MCs. Like I mean, yes, okay, we saw Jay-Z, jump on, auto tune in the wrong direction. Maybe you haven't seen that with, for example, Scarface, who's another one of your favorites. You don't see this with Scarface. You don't see this with Nas, for example, who's a number of people's favorites. People are arguing whether he's putting out his best work right now. There's most of the greats, the people in that conversation that he's in. You don't see this happen. For the people who are lyric-based MCs, and he's telling me he's thinking slower.
Maybe
he's not as good at putting words in a row anymore. I can't tell. He's killing all these kids on these features. He's still coming up with some of the best verses of the year. I know he's got projects he's made.
Being an awesome feature and doing an awesome album are two different things. I mean, you know what I mean? Like coming up with fucking 16 hot bars as opposed to, 1,016 hot bars is two different things.
Yes, and I never took Andre 3000 as someone who was scared of stuff. Right, this is a guy who put on dresses. You mean to tell me he's scared to put out an album?
Well, here's the deal. Like you and I both argue. You think their later stuff is the best shit. I think their earlier stuff is the best shit. What is he gonna do? Maybe he's like, yo, dude, I don't know what to do next.
Sure.
He might even be like, I don't even know what to do next. What am I going to do next? He was already on that like funkadelic shit. He was already on like, he was like, yo, dude, rappers are biting off of the shit that he was doing. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't fault him for his opinion. I fault him for saying that rappers get whacker when they get older. I just don't see it right now. I think there's too many examples that are way far away from whatever he's saying. If he's saying that, okay, I don't want to be I don't want to be out here competing with 21 Savage, you don't have to. You're under 3,000. You've been here 20 years. Nas is doing the same thing. Jay-Z's doing the same thing. Scarface is doing the same thing. E40 is doing the same thing. Like, you can play this game for a very long time for this guy to say these guys are whack.
Some of those guys I really like, but I don't think, some of my favorite stuff from them came 15 years ago. It doesn't mean I don't like the shit that they're doing now. I'm just saying some of my favorite shit from them was 15 years ago, bro.
Well, that's fine, I mean, look, I think we are going to have our favorites. Just the idea that just because you're older doesn't mean you're going to be worse at making art. It's not boxing. It's not like you have got tendonitis and now you can't hit that right hook the way you need to.
I think rap is a bit different than most like you look at some R&B shit or you look at some rock, rock groups, R&B groups, they're allowed to have some duds. They're allowed to have like an album with one good song and the rest is kind of like shit. Rap, I feel like the rap crowd is a bit more, they're less forgiving. You know what I mean? So it's harder to go through those spells where you have to kind of work through something creatively and get to a new place. And maybe that's the pressure he's feeling. I don't know. Or maybe he's just getting caked up from fucking Tree Tour and he's like, why the fuck do I need to go on tour? Why do I need to fucking deal with crowds? Why do I need to fucking be in some smoky ass thing? Why do I need to hear another fucking beat? Why do I need to get some irrelevant ass rapper on my shit so that I can be relevant? Maybe he's just tired of that.
I think I agree with everything you're saying. I don't think that that's the only option, which is the ironic part about all of this. Like, you don't have to subscribe to what everyone else is doing in a genre that is still defining itself. We don't have 70-year-old rappers running around on tour. We will. We haven't had 50-year-old rappers consistently. We just about do now. We got a lot of 40-year-old rappers right now who still put points on the board and still come up with cool new ways to rap. And most cats don't even break now until they get close to 30. So I have no idea what he's saying when he's saying that, oh, you get older, you can't rap no more. It's like the most 90s thing I've ever heard coming from the one least 90s guy who came from the 90s. His name is 3000. He's starting to sound like Andre 30.
I'm just kind of curious to see, like, I'm curious to see in fucking 10, 15 years from now, these cats doing these songs. Like, rap is different than R&B or other shit. Like, you have to say more words and more, like, R&B, you say the same shit over and over and over again. You kind of sing it. Performing rap is pretty fucking hard. And it's gonna be crazy to see some motherfucker that's like old as shit talking about fucking lick my nuts, suck my butt. You know what I mean? Like, it might look he might have a point there, dog. Like, how old do you get? Like, when are you gonna stop saying to lick my nuts, suck my butt? When are you gonna stop fucking singing there's some hoes in this house? You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Like, there might be something to that.
I don't think there's very many artists bigger on this planet than Snoop Dogg. And Snoop Dogg made a reggae album. He made another album
that was
Pharrell.
panned.
Either way, this is what you do when you have other things that you want to sing and perform, so you don't have to say lick my nuts and suck my butt. Right? It makes it very difficult to. I agree with you. I think there's certain things you don't want to hear, but I don't think that everything that Snoop Dogg has put out, like the Bush album, I think was very underrated. I think that was a very good Snoop Dogg album with him and Pharrell, for example. But I understand. Look, I understand. But even I understand everyone has their own opinion on it, and I get the idea that, hey, maybe I'd rather go design shoes than rap. But to sit here and look around and say that, hey, well, everyone sucks now that they're 40. They're not as good as they were. I don't know if that's necessarily what the story is. I think that people still want to hear from the people they really care about, and you're making it, and he's making a statement that is fundamentally not true against the people his peers, like the people he's most compared to most often.
So you're saying that the fact that he said it was a broad statement, you felt like he was attacking all rappers of a certain age group.
Yeah, just because he's scared to put out music doesn't mean he should make it sound like a bad idea for everyone else who still wants to put out, interesting rap.
I agree with that. I agree with that, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe he was just saying that for himself, even though he wasn't.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and pretend like he was just saying that for himself.
Right.
And look, man, here's the other thing, man. The people that we just named are fucking legends in rap. There's plenty of other old motherfuckers. They got no business touching the goddamn microphone, especially when they've been away from so long. They just go away. We've seen this time and time again. Rappers, they make a big splash. They go away for 6 or 7 years. They come back, and it's just it's passing them by. Perhaps that's what he was talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's definitely an artist that we really don't have a solo history with. Outside of Love Below, we don't really know what he sounds like or what he can put together on his own. It's one of the big asterisks in his whole career.
Did they have a shitty fucking deal or something? Did Outkast have a shitty, like...
Nothing.
Did they have a crappy thing that was keeping them from coming out with another album?
The crappy thing was Andre 3000's opinion and perspective. Every conversation I've ever had with any of them, it's really just been him.
And Big Boy keeps coming out with shit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Big Boy keeps coming out with shit.
Mm-hmm. And they've never really talked a whole lot of junk about record labels throughout their careers. They're not one of these guys who are making songs like labels or were, shelved for half their career.
Right.
They've always been featured artists. I mean, they're
Do you
pioneers.
think he's dissing? Do you think he's sneak dissing Big Boy? Because Big Boy just came out with an album and actually had some critical acclaim.
I don't think so. It's funny because every time I do read a quote from Andre talking about Outkast or Big Boy, it always feels like a sneak diss. I don't think so, though. I honestly, just from the conversations I've had, with people in the dungeon and with them, it doesn't sound like there's really any animosity at this point. I think everyone in the world wants to see an Andre 3000 album or an Outkast album except for Andre 3000. It's like one guy. And I don't even think that we're at a point where, failure would even be failure. Like, people like the idea that they can get in touch with you now. People like the idea they can hear something new.
Let's go to phones. 888-742-3345. 888-742-3345.
Demetrius in Michigan.
Yes, sir.
What's up, Demetrius? What you want to say?
Hey, what I want to say is that I just don't think that, they're giving the rap genre a fair shake. I don't know if it's because of the record labels, how they promote the music, but other genres like rock and roll and other genres, you got like Mick Jagger is still out here performing at 60 and doing rock and roll and doing it well, and no one's saying, well, Mick's too old. I think just rappers need to rethink it and still go on tour, because you got a guy like me that's 47 years old. I was listening to rap when it first began, and I would still pay money to see some of these guys that don't perform no more, because you got record labels and other people telling them that you're too old to make the music and you're too old to go on tour, and no one will pay it. I just don't think that's right. I think that the real fans will still come out to support no matter how old these artists are, because we still love the music no matter what. So I don't think there should be an age limit. You're 40 and you shouldn't make records. That just doesn't make sense to me. Or you shouldn't tour. That doesn't make sense to me.
Do you think? I think youth is. I feel like youth is overvalued in rap music. To be quite frank with you, I feel like the reason why a lot of these cats don't tour is because youth is overvalued. And look, man, I'm a cat that goes to, like, I'm gonna go see Pink Floyd tonight, and it's gonna be a bunch of young people and it's gonna be mostly old people with a bunch of young people carrying the fucking torch. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's up to the youth culture of hip hop to help keep these motherfuckers going. Like, it can't just be a bunch of old dudes showing up at the fucking club to watch somebody perform.
Yeah, well, I would say we still need the young people to come out and support, but I know a lot of young cats that I work with at my job at BMW, and they still like the 80s and 90s rap, and they always come up to me telling me about something new that they discovered from the 80s or 90s that they didn't hear when it first came out, but they've heard it now, and they like it. They like, hey, D, you remember this from back in the day? I'm like, yeah, man. And they like, man, that still sounds good. And I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you, that was good music. The best music was like 80s and 90s rap. And a lot of these young cats I work with, they like that music, and I think they would support it if these older artists were still touring and even still putting out new music.
That's the truth. I mean, look, I see it every week on my show, man, on my show TBD and on the YouTube channel. There's a ton of 15, 16, 17, all the way up to like 28-year-olds who are telling me all the time how much they love Biggie and how they're glad that Nori put them on to Duck Down. And like,
yeah,
like with the best thing about streaming services is you can listen to everybody's catalog all the time. So there isn't this barrier between you and the medium in which previous music was dope in. It was very difficult to go find a dusty 45 and cut grass with it. If we're in a CD player world back then.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Like, we're at this point right now with like kind of rap's life where I would, how do I put this? Like, 90s rap was classic rock for people growing up in the, like, it's been 20 years. You know what I mean? Like that was. This is classic rap. We're at this point where rappers are being rediscovered. You grew, like, Wu-Tang is your dad's music if you're fucking 20 years old. And this is something that's kind of relatively new, because rap is relatively new. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's late 70s. So I think we're going to see more of that. Killer Mike just he's listening in. Let me read. And here's another. Killer Mike is another great example of a motherfucker that is probably more popular now than ever.
He's on top of his game right now. I'll take any Killer Mike bars now over the things he was doing in the beginning of his
Killer Mike, what's your favorite Outkast, by the way? I want to know. Outkast better drop this is what he texted me. Outkast better drop another album before we die. Big Boy over 40 still killing shit. And RTJ too. Also, some OGs should be invited out to open for youth. My best example is when Crit first dropped. I would love to see him open for the Ball and G. And now he is bigger. They should open for him. That's a really good point. Like I think that's a fucking interesting point. Is like young rappers should be reaching out to these cats that they came up listening to and being like, "Hey man, why don't you come tour with us, open up with us, yo dude." And to be real, I would like that would bring me out to a fucking show if I got to see Ball and G, because I fucking love Ball and G.
Right, it's a big tent, man.
That was my worst interview ever because I just dick rolled him for fucking 20 minutes. I didn't even ask him one good fucking question, man. I'm still
right. I mean, look, Page Kennedy's another good example. He had a track. He did a remix of Story of OJ, which is incredible. People need to check it out. But he also had this collaborative project he was doing with his son, and had this really skewed view of what young trap music was like. And had to go do research, and it kind of brought him into an appreciation for a lot of these younger styles. But the same thing kind of happened to Inversion with his son as well. Like it's just art, man. It's not like you tear your Achilles, you can't get on the court anymore.
It's an exchange of ideas. It really is. You're right. But right now, Andre's getting that tree tour money. He's getting that motherfucking tree tour money, and them bitches are comfy. I'm telling you, them shoes is great.
I'm gonna have to get a pair, man, just because I offer you a recommendation.
Yeah, get you some motherfucking OxyClean because they get dirty quick than a motherfucker. But other than that, whatever. Yo, Justin, it was really a pleasure chatting with you. Do we got anybody else that's worth talking to or not?
I've got Angie out of Chicago. She agrees with you that people get
Angie,
old.
go ahead. Angie.
You?
Yeah, go ahead. You on?
What's good? I was going to say I'm 41 years old, and I grew up with like MC Lyte and folks like that. I don't want to see them on stage at my age still performing. I think I agree with you as far as R&B and other genres are just more forgiving than hip hop is. I don't want to see them on stage.
Why would you not want to see MC Lyte on stage? She's probably one of the most age-appropriate artists anyway. Like
MC Lyte is dope. She's dope, and I've seen her in concert as an older person, and she's not, you know what I'm saying? It's cool, but I'm not interested. And like I said, maybe I'm in the minority, but again, I agree with Jude as far as these other genres are just so much more forgiving. R&B, you could be like 90 and still making hits.
Well, it's your opportunity to impress forgiveness among the young people coming up now. Hip hop's not that old, so if it's unforgiving, it's because you don't want to see MC Lyte.
Oh, I feel you. Okay, that could very well be a good argument. I just don't want to. I'm good though. I can still listen to. I love the music. I still keep it on rotation.
Look, man, and here's the deal. Like, it's because it's a tough line, man. Like, I remember, like, I had a neighbor, dog. Like, he was like pushing. He was well into his 50s and 60s, and he show up in an all yellow FUBU outfit, looking like a banana out of place in a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't figured that shit out yet for rap yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's she gonna do? Come out with the big earrings and shit? Like, yo, she's down there 50 or whatever. Like, what's she gonna have on some Lane Bryant rapping? Like,
I'll tell you this though, the second best, third best concert I've ever been to in my life was an LL Cool J show 4 years ago in one of these amphitheaters out here in LA.
No,
my man,
LL.
And you might need to start checking in on your old rappers because LL Cool J is up there rapping like it is 1986. Like he still got his radio.
He got on the Kango.
Breath control crazy. He's got a golden LL Cool J walk-in staff that's his microphone stand at the front of the stage. He's working the entire crowd. It's a show I've never seen before.
Bro.
Yeah.
You gotta be, look, man.
And LL Cool J's in shape.
And here's the deal. That's what I'm talking about as far as it's a bit more forgiving. Like rock and roll, you hit a guitar solo. You see they're in a group. Right. You see half the group is off stage taking a fucking breather. You know, the other dude comes back on. Oh, let's do a drum solo. Right. They take turns doing their songs. Like it is. I think it is harder for rappers to fucking. I'm not against rappers rapping at an old age. I'm saying
Not at all, but it's true.
It seems like it's a bit harder on a motherfucker. That's all I'm saying.
Especially
And yo,
when it
dude,
comes to being on stage and rocking the crowd.
Yo,
I
ex
really
wants to
think
go-
it's more difficult.
my ex went to go see PM Dawn. That motherfucker came out. He sat in a lawn chair. He just sat on a lawn chair and rapped from a lawn chair, bro. Like she had to leave. She said it was too sad. You know what I mean? Like she was like, I can't.
Oh, wow.
I was like, first off, I was like, what are you doing going to see PM Dawn? But secondly, she was like, yeah, he was in a motherfucking lawn chair, like just chilling, like rapping from a lawn chair, like that shit.
I feel like he was on a lawn chair when he was out.
No.
When KRS was kicking him off stages, I feel like all his videos he was sitting down in his videos. Maybe it's just
Like KRS One, who is one of my favorite MCs of all time. I'm not going to pay to see him in concert.
I just don't understand why. If you love the artist, you love the songs, why wouldn't you want to go out and
It's
just check
just
him
not.
out?
You know what? This is not appealing to me. It's not like as I'm picturing them on stage. It's just not. It's not entertaining. Like
Damn.
I don't know.
The songs didn't change.
Does it make you feel old? Is that what it is? I'm just trying to figure out are you like, damn, they're old, so I'm old too.
No,
This is-
I'm rocking. I'm 41 and kicking it. So
All right.
no, I don't feel old.
You definitely saying some old things.
Oh well, I feel you. But yeah, I just personally, just me, I don't want to see them on stage. I mean, they cool though, and I
Damn.
can listen to their songs, and it's
Would you
dope.
go to a Jay-Z
But, yeah.
concert? Would you go to a Jay-Z concert?
for
Nope.
$400.
I wouldn't go one
Damn.
before. I love Jay-Z because he's just walking across the stage. That's not entertaining to me.
Are you sure you like music?
Well, I'm going to see Pink Floyd tonight, so I don't know what the fuck y'all
Okay,
talking
that's
about.
a
I'm going to see
different story,
Roger
though.
Waters.
That's a different story.
What's
He's
the
gonna have a
difference?
sweet light show. They're singing. That's the difference.
They're
She's saying
singing,
there's a
and
difference
it's more
between
to it
singing
than
and
just
rapping.
holding the mic and walking back and forth. If I'm paying my money, I want to see a entertaining show.
I'm not sure if you guys have been to
She
a rap.
does-
Did
She
you?
doesn't value rap as much as she values singing. That's
Rap shows have
basically what it
evolved
is.
quite a bit. I will say that. And anybody who didn't see the Bad Boy concert last year, it's one of the most entertaining, explosive experiences that I think you can ever have in any stadium. At least watch the documentary and understand that your old rap people used to listen to back in the day, they've evolved too.
There it is. All right, you got some Paige Kennedy, or what? Is he on the phone or what?
We got the track right here.
All right, yo. Thank you so much. It was. Thanks for just hanging in there and doing the show with me from my couch, bro. I appreciate you, man.
And always, man, home team.
Justin motherfucking Hunt, y'all. Where can they see this discussion on YouTube?
Follow at The Company Man on everything. Check out The Company Man on YouTube. Also, we just launched a new show on Ambrosia for Heads. It's called Last 7. Top stories from the last 7 days. Make sure you go to AFH, Ambrosia for Heads TV on YouTube as well and check that out. It's on my Twitter account, at The Company Man, if you need a link.
There you go. All right, let's go.
Peace.